Hello and welcome one and all, this is Old School Gamer 1971 here, Millie, Lloyd, everyone, hope you're all having a great day. If you would, please like and comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe, support the channel and help it grow. Today's thoughts is on Blair Witch. I've been playing this game for around 3 hours and this is what I think. Blair Witch is a psychological survival horror game developed by Blair team for the PlayStation 4 and released in 2019. The game is based on the Blair Witch series of films, which in itself is based on the Blair Witch legend. The game is set some 2 years after the events of the 1999 original movie, which was set in 1994. You play as a former police officer, Ellis Lynch, as he joins in the search for a missing boy in the Black Hills forest. Blair team is a Polish developer based in Krakow. Founded in 2008, Blair is best known for developing Layers of Fear, Layers of Fear 2 and Observer. The studio was originally part of Nibris, set up in 2006. Blair sought to become independent through investor funding. After the closure of Nibris in 2010, many of the staff moved to Blair. This is their latest project and released in August for the Xbox One and PC. And the PlayStation 4 version that has just been released includes the DLC and many of the bugs fixed. The year is 1996. 2 years after the events of the first movie. Ellis Lynch is a former police officer and a war veteran. Travels to the Black Hills forest to join in the search for a missing boy. 9-year-old Peter Shannon. Ellis brings his dog, Bullet. En route to the forest, whilst driving, he receives a call from his ex-wife, Jess. When he arrives at the forest, he takes his flashlight and gets a walkie-talkie and sets off on his search. Shortly, Ellis decides that he should call Sheriff Lanning, who is also searching for the missing boy. Upon hearing Ellis has joined the search, Lanning questions Ellis's condition and whether he will actually be more of a burden than a help. Ellis assures the sheriff that everything will be fine because Bullet is with him, and so begins this dark journey that I am happily travelling on. So is this the Blair Witch of Burkittsville, or is it Monkey Man on New Park's garages?
Come on, Bullet. Let's see if we can find a way to contact Sheriff Lanning.
To me, the game sits in a rather novel place. It's near AAA, but not quite. It doesn't have that final polish, that bit of sheen that makes it so. That's not to say it's an ugly game. In fact, some scenes are striking, and then for a fleeting scene or scenery, just let it down. To me, the forest looks so good, and certainly day or night, it impresses. Talking about the forest, it is a bit of a strange one. Thanks to the lighting and shadow, it starts off beautiful, looking more of a stroll through the autumn leaves. Obviously the game is giving you a false sense of security. Then we have that time around dusk or early morning. This has a more haunting look. You can feel something a little more sinister behind the trees. Did it move, or is it your imagination? Soon night sets in, and that's when it gets scary. You can hardly see anything, your vision is so stunted, and there is definitely something behind every tree. Just keep telling yourself it will soon be dawn. The area that does let the graphics down a little are the character models. I am glad that they are not on screen all of the time, or I do think it would have made the game a little disjointed. This is a pity. But now let's hit on a positive, and by positive I mean man's best friend, Bullet. You get to pick what Ellis's dog looks like. He helps you throughout. This is a nice touch and will be the face that you'll be spending most of the game looking at.
Better now, Bullet?
Like any horror movie or game worth its salt, a lot of the scares, tension and atmosphere is created by that all-important sound. This has this so right. This keeps heaping on the atmosphere, especially when it comes to the night time. Then it turns it up to 11. It feels claustrophobic, shadows seem to move, but it's the sound that catches you off guard, hearing your dog warning you of an approaching enemy. This is more advice than anything else. Turn up the volume on the controller speaker. I didn't and had to read the first phone conversations. It would have been nice to have had the option to switch it to the speakers, but at the same time it's a nice touch to use that often overlooked part of the PlayStation 4 controller. Still, options would have been better. I would like to say that I do like the voiceover here. There is a story to be told by a very small cast. He does like most of us do. When we're not talking to someone on the phone or walkie-talkie, he's talking to the dog or himself. I like that this makes the game feel relatable in a way. Telling Bullet that they are going to find the boy, or getting Bullet to sniff an object to take you to the next area. Some will say that this is a walking simulator, and I'm okay with that. This has more action than most. There is a lot going on in this game, and I don't mean in an action game kind of way, but normally not a lot happens in a walking simulator game. Here there is. The story moves at pace, and whilst you will get lost at some point, it won't take you too long to find your way back on track. The game starts off with you driving through the forest, when your phone rings and it's your ex inquiring how you are. This begins to build a picture in your mind. You get to the area where the police are parked up. You take a police radio and enter the forest. All the time you are talking about the missing boy and bringing him back alive. Then you start finding clues until you stumble across a camp, recently abandoned. You pick up a video camera and suddenly it's night. Then the scares come thick and fast. Soon your blood is racing. The conversations with your ex and the sheriff build your character and history. So a couple of mechanics that are rather cool is affecting video footage to clear a path or to get an item. This is great, and you can do some pretty clever stuff, like opening a door and by pausing it at the right moment it's now open. I cannot recall another game with this mechanic, especially done in this way. Also using light to keep away enemies. You have to look at what way the dog is barking so you can see what way to flash your beam. This does break up the walking round quite nicely. The graphics and sound work hand in hand. Add to it pacing and a good story and soon it starts to draw you in. This game plays to its strengths, and even though in my 3 hours I got lost twice, I was soon back on the hunt for the boy, and while sometimes you may be drawn down a different rabbit hole, you'll soon be back on the trail. Just because you get hit, it doesn't mean you're going to die. You will eventually if you're hit often enough. This allows for the atmosphere to take over. The dog is barking, trying to warn you, and this all works rather well. Normally in a walking simulator you are one and done, or you cannot even retaliate. This gives you the chance to at least repel them. This is a little bit obvious that we are supposed to feel bad for our Ellis, a former veteran who came home and was unable to adjust to civilian life. He joined the force, but it didn't help. Eventually Jess leaves Ellis, unable to take any more. The sheriff gives Ellis a dog, and Ellis grows to appreciate the dog. You learn more of Ellis's service and his career in the police, as very early on it becomes obvious that there was an incident and Ellis was trying to atone for his mistakes. This draws you in and makes for an interesting protagonist. One thing I do need to mention, and it is a bit of a downer, is the bit about Ellis's backstory with the army. That section feels totally disjointed from the rest of the game. I do believe that it may have been better as a cutscene. This takes you out of the missing boy story, and whilst I get that this was done for character building, I do believe that it doesn't really fit. When the game is being Blair Witch, it is good. When it is not, as a standalone game, this would have been good. As it is, it doesn't quite fit. Also, the dog can feel a little unhelpful sometimes. He doesn't always take the lead, he doesn't always show you where to go. I know the idea is not to take you by the hand and lead the way. I know the dog can be considerate. He comforts you sometimes during your hour of need. He just seems a little bit of an unhelpful git sometimes. So just like a real dog then. This did not need to be a Blair Witch game. It could have comfortably been its own thing. But I'm kind of glad that it is. As for the most part, this game fits like a glove. What helps it work is that whilst it's connected to the movies, it isn't based on a movie, instead choosing to fit snugly 2 years after the original, giving us new characters and a new story, a new chapter for fans of the franchise. I've mentioned this before, now someone please make this canon. So Blair Witch of Burkittsville, it most definitely is. So keep your creepy pastas, your SCPs. It's all about Monkey Man at the New Parks garages down near the old Scout Hut.
No.
If you are hearing this, you've made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for your support. Give it a thumbs up and comment if you enjoyed the video. Please share everywhere as it helps the channel grow and puts a big old smile on this old face. Leave your suggestions down below in the comments. Enjoy your day one and all. Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.